Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you happen to be. Today, I'm talking to June Wost, who is a faculty member at Houston Community College. She has been there for over 30 years. She is in the art department, and she teaches both studio art and art history, both of which she had to transition at some level to remote teaching back in 2020. And so we're going to be talking about that experience and the experience of her students then and in the interim period. First of all, what was your experience with the transition from face-to-face learning to online teaching as a result of the pandemic? So take us through that first semester in 2020 when you were midway through the semester and all of a sudden everything shut down. So what did that look like for you?
Well, it's nice to be here, Tom. Thank you. I started wearing masks and I got a little bit of pushback from that from a few students who were veterans who said that they'd been seeing things a lot worse than what COVID would be. And then I knew it was serious when the mayor decided to cancel the Texas Livestock and Rodeo Show. I knew that this had to be something big to get that across to the city of Houston. Since then, I've had to learn a lot of new things because they put me into the situation of teaching a design class, 2D design. And now I'm teaching a 3D design class fully online. In all my years, I've never taught design, and I have never taught it online. So, and neither had most of the faculty done online studio classes. So I was right back to square one with all the faculty, even though I'd been doing this for years and years and years. Teaching a studio class online became a different animal for me. And it's not going to go away.
When you went online, did you essentially at that point treat it as an asynchronous course? Did you still continue to lecture or have conversations with your students via video conferencing? How did you handle that transition?
My transition toward home and working from home meant that I had to learn to use a camera that was on my computer. I had to try to get students to stay connected with me through their images, their image, their face, their portrait. That was really the hardest part for me, was not feeling that I could see them and talk to them as frequently as I could in a classroom where we were walking around the space and maybe getting up and looking at other people's students would look at other tables' work and, share the content from their perspective with each other. That was difficult. And at first, when I would meet synchronously with them, I made a schedule, a 5-minute schedule. I do this in 5 minutes, and then 10 minutes I do this, and then 7 minutes they do that, and then 10 minutes we do this. And it was crazy feeling. And over time, I was able to.
Did that work?
Did
you hold to it?
No. I did not hold to it, but it helped me learn how to think about what was going on in the classroom, the digital sphere of teaching online on a schedule. It was certainly a schedule. It was just a tight schedule.
Right.
And it's different now, but that was something I tried. So I figured out some things on how to do that. We would look.
Did you require your students to turn their cameras on, or how did you handle that?
I tried different ways. One was pedagogical. I said, let's look at Rembrandt. Let's, look at how he used light to impact the psychology of the individual. Well, let's try that on you yourself now. You know, what does your lighting look like? And so they'd have to turn on their cameras for me to see what their lighting looked like.
Did you encounter resistance to people turning on their cameras?
Not when I talked about it that way so much. You know, they felt, I think they understood why it was important in this class anyway to do that, that we are studying visual art and visual cues that are represented through different mediums in art, and realism and abstraction, and when something is blurred or in focus, or that seemed to work. But the other thing I did do was require these screenshots of evidence that they were talking to one another.
But I can certainly see what you're doing there with art. I actually kind of like that approach a lot. I wish I don't have that kind of excuse in a government class.
You know, Tom, I think the students were better at that than I was with the technology they had, because I had to have two screens open, and I would get lost between this tab and that screen and this video application. And so we were all they were helping me when it came to moving pictures. Like I said, visual art has for centuries been about something that holds still. And now we've got all the moving video, film activity that we have to, that's trending, and that we have to understand how to use. And through that usefulness of it, we're still teaching them about the elements and principles of design and the history of art. And
how about your own preparation? I mean, you talked a little bit about you were familiar with Canvas, but I mean, in terms of resources, how well prepared do you think you were going into this on a technological side? Did the institution help you? What were the kind of resources that you were offered to work you through, or were you kind of on your own?
A little bit of both. I did not feel prepared really after that initial semester where everything closed down, because I could use the documents that I had created. But again, this video conferencing thing was a piece of software that I had to figure out. And we had a lot of choices. and those lots of choices were confusing. And it was confusing to administration too. They were trying to be helpful about how to do each one of them, but I just went with the one where I felt I had the support to, and maybe a little bit of background with EduTube and how to work with images and videos that would automatically be stored in Canvas for myself and students to see without a lot of button pushing.
Great conversation. So thank you very much, June.
Yeah, it's been good talking to you.